Sometimes understanding whether a word is masculine or feminine in Italian can be kind of tricky. In today's video, I'm going to give you some tips to understand the gender of nouns in Italian. Ciao a tutti, io sono Stefano and I am an Italian teacher. First of all, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any future lesson. In today's video, we're going to talk about a topic that might seem a little basic, but actually it is not. Many students, even though they are intermediate or advanced, sometimes they still get the gender of nouns in Italian wrong. And that is because sometimes it might be a little bit confusing. Now, I'm gonna give you some tips to better understand whether a word is masculine or feminine. But again, these are tips, not rules. This is because we don't have actual rules about this topic in Italian. However, what we want to do here is understanding the trends of the language. So sometimes, even though there are not specific rules on a topic, we can find trends. And if we understand the trend, the pattern of the language, it's just gonna be much easier for us to speak it correctly. Now let's get started with the basic tips, let's say. Words ending in O. Nouns ending in O in Italian are usually masculine. Not all the time, we're gonna look at some exceptions later, but usually they are masculine. For example, amico, male friend, treno, train, panino, sandwich. On the other hand, if a word ends in A, then probably it's going to be feminine. For example, amica, female friend, studentessa, a female student, bicicletta, a bike. But now the problem is for words ending in E in the singular. This is because many words in Italian end in E when they're singular, and they may be both. When I say both, I mean that they may be masculine or feminine. It depends. For example, if you take the word studente, student, that is a male student. First, because we know that the feminine version of it would be studentessa. But if you didn't know that, you couldn't really tell because it ends in E. And when a word ends in E, like studente, you don't really know, so it's kind of a guessing game. For example, caffè is masculine as well. Coffee, il caffè. But then automobile, car, is feminine, and the same goes for notte, night, still feminine, la notte. But let me give you some tips that may help you in understanding the gender of a word ending in E. So instead of looking at just the final letters, let's look at the final syllable. Usually, words ending in ione are feminine. Most of the time, honestly. So most of the words ending in ione are feminine. And all these words correspond to English words ending in ion. Let me give you some examples. Televisione, in English television, is feminine, la televisione. Then we've got nazione, nation, is feminine as well. And the same for opinione, opinion, still feminine. But if you have a word ending in ore, and that corresponds to the English OR, then it's probably gonna be masculine. For example, attore, actor, a male actor, autore, author, a male author, and professore, a male professor or teacher. Of course, that doesn't cover all words ending in E, but I think it helps, so it might be useful to memorize these two final syllables. Sometimes in Italian you might also have a word ending in a consonant. We don't have a lot of words ending in consonants in Italian, and if we do, those words probably are not really Italian, but they are words that we have borrowed from another language, for example, English. And we have a lot of them that we use in everyday Italian. For example, the words film, bar, autobus, sport. These words do not have a translation in Italian, and they are all masculine. Sometimes we might have borrowed words that are actually feminine, but most of the time they're going to be masculine. But now let's talk about some very common exceptions that I think you should memorize. The first one is words ending in A that are actually masculine. To be more specific, I'm not just talking about words ending in A, but rather M-A. One of the most common mistakes students make in Italian is considering the word problema, problem, feminine. No, Actually, problema is masculine because it ends in ma. So you would say il problema, the problem. It's masculine. And then the same for diploma, diploma, and programma, programma. So, not all the time, but usually, words ending in ma are masculine. Then we also have two extremely common words in Italian that end in o, but are actually feminine. The first one is radio, radio. So, radio is feminine. We would say la radio. And the same for mano, hand. We would say la mano. But now that you have a better understanding of how the gender of nouns work in Italian, I want to talk a little bit about plurals. I'm gonna give you some basic rules about plurals that are going to help you to make words from singular to plural, and that is extremely helpful. So first of all, remember that all words ending in o and e have their plural in I. It doesn't matter whether they're masculine or feminine. If you have a word ending in o or e, then the plural is going to be in I. Of course, there are some exceptions to this rule, but this is the general rule. For example, amico, amici, treno, treni, televisione, televisioni, studente, studenti, professore, professori. So you see o or e at the end, you want to make it plural, just swap the e for an I and you're done. But now the situation is a little bit more complicated when we have a word ending in a. Although I've told you that most of the words ending in a are feminine, we do have some words ending in a that are masculine. I don't want to say they're not common, they exist. They're not as common as words ending in a that are feminine, but we do have quite a long list of words ending in a that are masculine. So how do we do this? Well, if the word ending in a is feminine, then you change the a for an e. For example, studentessa, studentesse, bicicletta, biciclette, casa, case. But if you have a word ending in a that is actually masculine, like for example, problema, then you want to change that a into I. For example, problema, problemi, programma, programmi. So basically, plural words in Italian always have an I at the end, except feminine words ending in a in the singular. Of course, there are some exceptions to this rule, but we're not going to talk about them in this video. Last thing that I wanted to tell you is the plural of foreign words. As we've seen before, most of the foreign words, so words we have imported from another language, like film, sport, they're all masculine. Now, since they end in a consonant, we can't really change the vowel because we don't have it. So these words are not going to change. So for example, film means both film and films. Same with sport, that is both sport and sports. So how can we understand if we're saying sport or sports? Well, that's very easy. We look at the article, so we look at the. Now, if you don't know the rules of definite articles in Italian, don't worry because I will be making a video about that soon. But anyway, if you're interested in that video, just let me know in the comments below. Okay guys, we are done for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to give it a like because it's gonna help me tremendously in growing my channel. And also, if you don't want to miss any future lessons, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. This way you will be notified every single time I upload a new video. I also have an Instagram page called Teacher Stefano where I upload regularly and I also sometimes do quizzes. So if you want to practice what you've been learning in these lessons on YouTube, don't forget to check out my Instagram page as well. I'm going to see you in the next video. Ci vediamo nel prossimo video. Ciao!